Hi, and thanks for joining me in another video on snow measurements. In this video, we're going to talk about remote sensing. So this really isn't a fixed instrument on the ground. It's based on an airplane. And these surveys, they're airborne gamma radiation snow surveys done by NOAA. The organization underneath NOAA or in NOAA that does this is the National Operational Hydrologic Remote Sensing Center, which is a mouthful to say. But what they measure the snow water equivalent. In other words, the snow depth water equivalent, what's on the ground, and also the soil moisture. So these are airborne measurements. They are based on the principle that gamma radiation is emitted by the soil, typically the upper 8-inch topsoil, and the radiation is coming from potassium, uranium, and thorium. And of course, the water mass that's on top of the soil will attenuate, or will, I guess you could say, absorb the radiation that's coming off of the soil. So if you can fly over a region when there's no snow and measure the gamma radiation, and then go back over in the winter and then measure how much gamma radiation is coming off of the soil, off of the ground, if you know the difference, then you can estimate the amount of water that's covering the ground, or the snow water equivalent, the snow depth water equivalent. So it really doesn't depend upon whether it's in the liquid phase, if it's water that's on the soil or ice. Either attenuates radiation the same amount, so it gives you the amount of water equivalent. The NOAA aircraft, this is a Dash 6 or a de Havilland Dash 6 that operates. It's a turbine-powered airplane, twin engine, turboprop. It flies 10-mile-long legs that are approximately 1,000 feet wide. They have 1,900 flight lines set up all across the United States in 29 different states and also 7 Canadian provinces. Here's an example of eastern North Dakota and western Minnesota, going from just south of Fargo all the way up to just north of Grand Forks. Looking at the Red River, these are the flight paths that they fly at low altitudes, measuring the water equivalent, and from that they can figure out the runoff that's going into the river, and then also predict flooding. So these flights are typically at very low altitudes, 500 feet AGL, and they only do it during VFR conditions. And they can estimate snow water equivalent over a 2 square mile region, and the snow water equivalent is an estimate of approximately plus or minus 0.5 inches uncertainty. So as I mentioned, they use this for flood forecasting. The information is downloaded to the River Forecast Center, and also it's used by the local weather forecast office hydrologist. They ask for these flights if they suspect that there will be significant flooding in their region, and these flights will typically be done 10 days before the flood outlook comes out, its release date. That is how snow measurements are made remotely. I hope you enjoyed this video.